All right, everybody. Brett's going to give us some of his awesome tips. Brett, what did you want to share with us?
So I get asked a lot, what's your number one fitness tip? It's not an exercise and it's not a nutrition regimen, because I will be very clear with this. The dumbbell and the diet don't get you in shape. It's the accountability to your word and the belief in yourself that do, period. Because when you want to get up at 7 in the morning and get that workout on, or you want to, skip something else going out so that you can get up early on a Saturday, that takes inner strength. That is the accountability to your word and the belief in yourself. So it's not the dumbbell and the diet, my friend. You walk your talk, and the rest will follow. So, something that this has had a huge impact on my life when I was losing weight as a teenager was just I had a real moment where if you've been hurting yourself through food like what I was doing, you're not respecting your word, you're not respecting your body, there just comes a time when enough is enough and you want to make that change. And I became very hyper aware of my word, and I needed to be accountable to it, almost as if my life depended on it. And I have sort of lived that through fitness, where in the middle of a set I would get tired and I wouldn't want to give up. And I would use me being overweight, and I'd look back and said, on all those times you gave up on your word, you're not going to do it here. And it's really interesting to see, almost like I was getting redemption, but the things that hurt me in the past carried me and helped fuel me through fitness, which ended up helping me lose weight. So I will say this, because a lot of people are sort of like, well, that believing in myself, and that may be a little out there for some people. When I say walk your talk, it's just if you put your mind to something and you give your word on it, then fulfill on it. And you want to know where we live in such a fast, paced world where we look at an Instagram thing like this. Here's where you can get instant gratification on putting your mind to something and doing it. And it's it's fitness. You don't have to be an athlete, but for every set, every repetition, every workout, that physical discomfort comes up, that mental discomfort, and you either rise to the occasion or you don't. And when you do, you walk out of there with some swag on, baby. You walk out of there with a little hop and a skip, and that inner strength carries over to every aspect of your life, to your relationships, to your work, because you walked your talk. You did what you said you were going to do. So to me, it all goes back. It's like a full circle. What's my number one tip? Believe in yourself, walk your talk. How do you do that? Through fitness, showing up and staying consistent.
Brett, those are words to live and die by, and you've obviously done that, and I think that's a real good point for people to hang on to, is live and die by your words, and you will reap the benefits of them, won't you?
You will, and it can happen just so simply in 30 seconds of an exercise. You are putting it, you're stepping out of your comfort zone, and that's what it takes. It's not about training harder. It's not about training more often. It's about showing up.
I think people have a misconception. They think that exercise is going to be painful, and I think people also, because we're in this instant gratification world that we live in, they think that if they go to the gym in a week, their pants are supposed to fit differently. But that's not the case, right? This is not a race. It's a journey. It's a lifestyle, correct? And I think people need to arm themselves to be prepared to not look like you or me next week. I mean, you can't be skinny in a day. You can't be fit in a day. You've got to live the life, walk the walk, and talk the talk, right?
Yeah, and I tell people I wasn't born like this. I was an overweight kid too. I earn it every damn day. And, I do think when people start, I say, look, if you do too much and it's too hard, you're not going to enjoy it, and you're never going to do it again. So find something that doesn't hurt so much in the beginning, but do keep, there is something to be said when you challenge yourself that much and you step outside of your comfort zone, and there is that pain in the body. It makes you have a conversation and truth that you will not have unless you go there. And those conversations can change your life. It's when, the phone stops ringing, you don't care about the emails, the kids are going to wait, everyone's going to wait, because you were in that moment with your body and your fatigue, And it's a very real moment, and you learn a lot of things about yourself. But if you don't go there hard enough, you will not have that conversation, the chatter almost that I say. And it's not, you don't have to do that all the time, but it is a gut check, and it is worth doing once in a while.
And so about as far as number of days of a week, how much do you recommend for people when you have your 20-minute body program? How often do they do that sort of exercise?
That program is 5 times a week, but it's short. The workouts are short, you know, and I think you want to be able to get a habit in your body, and it takes 3 weeks. You've got to be doing it day in and day out. So the workouts are shorter, and you can fit into your schedule. You want to do it more often. And the workouts taper, and the amount of time that's requested sort of tapers off as the program goes on. But we do it in the beginning of this program, 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week.
And that's pretty easy. You could say, okay, and I get to reward myself. If I do my 5 days a week, I get to have my weekends free to do what I want to, right? Just get in your 5 days somehow. Or if you can't do that, then use up 2 of your weekend days. Then you only have 3 days during the week to try to fit it in.
And that's just for people that are on my program, where it's a very structured thing, and they have the DVDs, and it's right there, and they have a calendar. If you don't have that much structure, 5 days may be a lot to bite off of. Then, you know, I'm usually like 3 days a week. You know, you got to get it and make one of those days a weekend, because it keeps you in check. I think so. It's going to make your Friday night. You're going to come home earlier. It's just, it grounds you for the weekend, and you don't let that thing, you know, sort of get away from you. So if you can tackle 3 days a week, to me, you are thinking about it half of the week. It's on your mind. It's not a little 1 hour, you know, new event in your iPhone. It's part of what you're doing. And if it goes down to once or twice a week, out of sight, out of mind. It's got to be, in my opinion, you got to have about 3 days a week, at least, for it to really set in with you and make a habit.
And that sounds very doable. 3 days a week does not sound daunting. It doesn't sound arduous. It sounds like, hey, I can do that 3 days a week.
And I would encourage people, make your workout shorter. Whatever you have to do. They don't have to be 20 minutes, but if you can get them to a half hour, trust me, you work out harder and more often. And it's a great thing to be able to do that. You start having this more consistency, you start seeing results more, but it really then becomes part of your life because you're doing it more often. So I think one other big tangible tip is, if you're used to going to the gym or working out for hours on end, see if you can do something for only half an hour. Make your rest intervals shorter, or cut down the exercise and just give more effort in that shorter amount of time.
And can you talk to the science of that? I know I've read a good bit on the science of the fact that, like, if you do these short intervals, as I understand it, the quickness, I might get it wrong, maybe you can say it, it's when you burn off the sugar first, and then it sends your body into fat burning mode for the next 24 to 36 hours. So that's apparently why burst training is so effective, or this interval training is so effective.
Yeah, there's, in a nutshell, when you create a big disturbance in your nervous system and metabolism from doing a very intense workout, so you produce a lot of lactic acid, certain hormones are released when you're doing high-intensity training that are not released when you're sort of, you know, going to a normal aerobics class or maybe doing a normal weight training thing. It's almost like when you do these very high-intensity efforts, it's like your normal car has to go on to turbocharge. And, you know, the turbocharge that you would turn on in a car are these excitatory hormones in the body, like adrenaline, growth hormone, testosterone. So they're not normally released in normal workouts, but when you do HIIT training or burst training, they are. So you have lactic acid, you have these excitatory hormones, you have elevated heart rate, your blood vessels dilate. All these things happen to accommodate when you're that excited. It takes fuel to fuel that excitement, and that you have to actually break down part of your body to provide that. You've got to break down either sugar, like glycogen in the bloodstream or the muscles, to provide sugar to work out, or fat has to get broken down. There's a lot of energy, so it's a catabolic breaking down state. And now you've just created this big disturbance in the body, and all these things need to be cleared out. You need to go back to rest. Well, when you go back to rest, all the enzymes and other hormones that help you do that, they don't run off of free energy. It takes energy to get your body back to normal. And that energy is calories. So you actually burn calories when you are recovering. And when you do these high-intensity interval sets, you created this big disturbance in the nervous system for actually up to 72 hours after you work out.
Okay.
And you will notice that you're getting, you can burn off these calories from fat for days after this type of training. Now, I'm not saying you go out one day and do it. That's going to happen. You have to be consistent so that your body starts to adapt to it. But that is what happens. You in the workout itself, yes, you are primarily burning sugar from your body when you're doing this type of anaerobic HIIT training, and then afterwards you start burning fat. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be honest, the body really doesn't care where it's getting its calories from. If you are starting to burn a lot of calories from fat or from sugar, trust me, your body is going to change, and that's what's important.
And that's exactly what your 20-minute body program does, right? It gives these bursts of trainings.
Yes.
That's the body in motion.
That's part of the secret sauce, is it's not just the shortened time. I mean, the reality is we do HIIT training in that. We do body weight training, so it's very convenient for people. They can do it at home. We do have an option for band or dumbbells, but there are 6 formats actually in the program that are very different, and they're the type of exercises, the intensity. So we actually cover sort of high, medium, and low forms of HIIT training, so that people that are less conditioned can come in there and still do it versus people that have been training for a long time. And there's a lot of variety in that for people so that they can progress at their own speed. But part of the secret sauce is definitely the HIIT training, the type of exercise that you choose, the order that they're in, the intensity that they're done, the rest intervals, all that science is my specialty, and that's what I really put an effort into the program design of the whole program and all these different formats that people can do. So we got tons of HIIT training in 20-minute body.
I love it. I love it. Thanks for all your awesome tips. These are going to be really fun to share with everybody.
Well, you're welcome.
So anything else you could think, or is that good?
I would just love to give a shout out to the JAM Fit Foundation. Patty Howell is an amazing, amazing woman. She's up to a lot of stuff, and she's a topic of mine right now, on my mind, because October is Bully Prevention Month. I do a lot of stuff with the bully prevention community because I was bullied a lot, like I said, for not looking like my parents and then being overweight and having a food allergy and wasn't allowed sugar and a lot of things. So it's very dear to me. And the JAM Kids Foundation primarily provides free workouts for the schools. And now I'm working with them and helping Patty to contribute a lot of the workouts that I do for them. But just as important is the bully prevention stuff that we've teamed up together, because fitness and bully prevention are so tied in, hand in hand, for a lot of reasons. One, if your kids that are overweight tend to get bullied a lot. And number two, here I have a very simple and direct message to a lot of the kids out there and parents and the community on bully prevention. Bullying, in my opinion, is not the issue. It's going to happen to you, kids out there. It's going to happen to the parents. It happens to me. It happens to everyone. It happens your whole life, to be honest. Bullying is not the issue. How you deal with bullying, how you deal with confrontation, that is the issue. And I can tell you this one tip. It doesn't have a color, a shape. You can't touch it, but you can feel it. It's called inner strength. If you have inner strength inside of you, you have a much better time, and it's easier to deal with any confrontation, especially bullying. And kids that have that inside of them, that light, they don't get bullied usually. Bullies don't pick on them. And how you get that inner strength is by doing things that you're good at, that put a smile on your face, that let yourself shine, that you can excel at. Now, that could be academics, it could be music, band, it could be fitness. It could be anything. And if you don't know what that is, Step outside your comfort zone. Do something that you're not comfortable with, because a lot of times you may be, in those moments of fear, when you overcome them, you find joy and you find things that you're actually good at and passionate about. And that's it. Is when you sort of do the things that put a smile on your face and that you can excel at, you build this inner strength inside of you, and that is something that nobody can take away from you. And that's a lot. Now, fitness, people always think, kids especially, oh, I've got to be an athlete to do fitness. And let me just say this. Like I've said before, we live in a very instant gratification world where people are just looking at their phones and flipping through a second on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or whatever. Here's something that fitness can give you: instant inner strength. I'm talking about in the middle of a set that may only take 15 seconds, or your last rep, when you know that chatter in your head is saying, we should quit, oh, we're tired, hey, nobody's looking, you can skip this workout, we'll do it tomorrow. And you don't. You listen to the other voice that says, no, you're gonna be accountable to your word. You're going to do it because if I do it, I know my kid's going to do it because they're going to see me do it. Those type of things, and you actually fulfill on it in those 5 seconds, you leave with that inner strength for the next workout. Or you take it back to work, or you take it back to the dinner table. So fitness is something that will build that inner strength very quickly, and you don't have to be an athlete to do it. So, for all the kids out there and even the parents, it's not bullying. To me, it's how you deal with it. That's really the issue. And like I said, inner strength is the key, and I really think using fitness to help you fuel that is something that anybody can do anytime.
Well, we're definitely going to be on the lookout for this new program that you and Patty are doing, and I'm guessing it's going to be incorporated in the JAM model to go into the schools with this bullying/fitness together. Okay.
Yes, we're actually working on something that we come up with called the Bully Shield that will help kids actually in the moment or afterwards. So I'm really looking forward to doing more of this with the schools and sharing this with you guys and the Health Revolution, School Revolution in the near future.
Well, thanks, Brett. We're going to be on the lookout, and I'm going to peg you if you don't send me the information. I'm going to hunt you down and find you, and I'm not going to bully you, but I will find you, okay?
You've got it. You have my word.
Yay, high five.
All right. Little fist pound. Boom, little fist bump.
Boom, you got it. Ow, that hurt.